Hello, I'm Elfin. Welcome to January Jackanory. Make yourself cosy and comfortable and listen to the first of our two Welsh tales today. Beddgelert is the setting for two of Wales' most celebrated legends. Probably the most famous of all is the story of Dinas Emrys, the lofty mountain home of the dragon you see fluttering on the Welsh flag. This is a tale of two dragons. Way back in the 5th century, the Celtic King Vortigern chose Dinas Emrys as the site for his castle. From here he hoped to escape the Saxons, but his plans for a fortress weren't easily achieved. Every night the royal masons would lay down their tools only to return the next day to find they'd vanished and their carefully crafted walls had fallen down. And so it went on day after day until Vortigern was forced to seek the help of sorcerers and magicians. They advised that the ground should be sprinkled with the blood of a child born to a human mother and father from the other world. A search was launched and eventually the child was found in Merlin and preparations for the sacrifice were made. But the child, Merlin Emrys, was no ordinary child. In fact, he was Merlin, the wizard. Merlin convinced Vortigern that two dragons lay sleeping under a lake inside the mountain, and it was they that were destroying the foundations of his fortress. Convinced the boy was right, Vortigern commanded his labourers to dig deep into the mountain. They did as they were told and discovered an underground lake, just as Merlin had predicted. Once strained, the red and white dragons that lay there sleeping awoke and began to fight. Eventually, the white dragon fled and the red dragon returned quietly to his lair. Vortigern's castle was finally built and duly named Dinas Emrys in honour of Merlin Emrys, and the red dragon has been celebrated ever since. Tread carefully if you explore this hill. A dragon sleeps beneath it. The end. The second of our Welsh tales today is a story of one of the most famous hounds in history, Gelert. The story goes that in the 13th century, Prince Llewellyn the Great had a palace at Beddgelert in Carnarvonshire, and as the prince was a keen hunter, he spent much of his time in the surrounding countryside. He had many hunting dogs, but one day, when he summoned them as usual with his horn, his favourite dog Gelert didn't appear, so regretfully, Llewellyn had to go hunting without him. When Llewellyn returned from the hunt, he was greeted by Gelert, who came bounding towards him, his jaws dripping with blood. The prince was appalled, and a horrible thought came to his mind. Was the blood on the dog's muzzle that of his 1-year-old son? His worst fears were realised when he saw, in the child's nursery, an upturned cradle and walls splattered with blood. He searched for the child, but there was no sign of him. Llewellyn was convinced that his favourite hound had killed his son. Mad with grief, he took his sword and plunged it into Gelert's heart. As the dog howled in his death agony, Llewellyn heard a child's cry coming from underneath the upturned cradle. It was his son, unharmed. Beside the child was an enormous wolf, dead, killed by the brave Gelert. Llewellyn was struck with remorse and carried the body of his faithful dog outside the castle walls and buried him where everyone could see the grave of this brave animal and hear the story of his valiant fight with the wolf. To this day, a cairn of stones marks the place, and the name Beddgelert means in Welsh, the grave of Gelert. Every year thousands of people visit the grave of this brave dog. The end. And if you have enjoyed this tale today, please like and comment and share and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the other tales in January Jackanory. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.